Now getting into our top five, and this is where it gets very tough because I got to be honest with you. Really, any of the teams ranked between 6-1, 7-1, 8-1, any of these teams has a real legitimate argument to be number one. They really do. You could even go as far as like Clemson sitting there at 10. I could make a strong argument on behalf of Clemson that they could be one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the country next year. So really, if you look at all these teams, it's so hard to put pieces where, but you have to go a little bit on continuity. You have to go a little bit on upside. You have to go a little bit on young players taking the step. Like there's a lot of question marks surrounding this, but the top five is as follows. We'll start at number 5. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Their defense last year, I think, was so much fun to watch. I absolutely loved covering this team. I love the identity that Marcus Freeman has employed. I think he's a defensive guru. I love that you know what they're going to run. They're going to get up in your face. They're going to challenge you. They're going to go press man, and they're going to be pretty aggressive with some of their blitz schemes. Like, you know what you're getting. Just now you got to man up and go beat them, and it's hard to do. The one thing that held me back from putting Notre Dame in number 1, number 2, or number 3 is the turnover at defensive coordinator. And I have a ton of respect. I'm talking a ton of respect for Chris Ash. But it just goes to show you how much respect I had for Al Golden, who has since now left to become a defensive coordinator in the NFL. But Ash has a really solid background as well. He'd been at Ohio State under Urban Meyer, helped lead them to a national championship. He's also spent time as the DC at Wisconsin, Arkansas, Texas. He's been around for a while, okay? And he is going to be able to step right into what was a remarkably successful foundation that was established by Marcus Freeman and Al Golden. And it will not be a massive, complete upending of what it is they do. Like, they got a lot of players back, and they should be very, very good. The big question is, how do you replace the defensive tackles Howard Cross and Riley Mills? Now, those two guys being gone, yeah, it's significant. There's no denying that. But they played the final month of the regular season without Howard Cross. They played the last 2 or 3 games of the college football playoff without Riley Mills. So you've already gotten a little bit of a glimpse as to what it might look like if those guys are unavailable. And guess what? The results were pretty dang good. Let's start up front. I really like what they have back on the edges defensively. Last year, they were a disruptive group on the edge, but that was without 2 of their best players who they lost early in the season. They lost Boubacar Traore. They lost Jordan Botelho. These 2 guys now being healthy, they got hurt early in the year. Them being healthy is significant, but because they got hurt, it allowed opportunities for guys like Josh Burnham, for a guy like Bryce Young to step in and get quite a bit of reps last year throughout the regular season and the postseason run. So those guys aren't young guys. They played a lot, but now they're going to be reinforced with the preseason starters to add more depth to the edges of their defense. That is a great place to start. You look also on the interior defensive line. Gabriel Rubio, who might be that big piece to replace Riley Mills, he got to play an awful lot. Jason Onye got to play an awful lot. Donovan Heinisch had some great moments last year, albeit somewhat undersized, but can be that disruptive piece, maybe not as disruptive as Howard Cross, but can be that undersized, twitchy defensive tackle that can create some problems for the opposing defense. And you got a lot of young players in this past recruiting class that might be able to step right in and give you some good reps there early in their career as well. Because if there's one thing that we've learned about Notre Dame, when they play freshmen on defense, sometimes in some weird, crazy cases, the freshmen are just as good as the veterans that are and the All-Americans that they just replaced. I don't know how they do it, but I'm sure it's the way they recruit and the way they accelerate the development for those young guys as well. I think they're loaded at linebacker. Drake Bowen, he had a great run last year throughout the season. Replacing Jack Kaiser will be difficult, but I think he is absolutely capable to go along with Jalen Sneed, Jaden Osbury, and Kingston Viliamu-Asa. Those 3 are going to kind of battle. So there's really 2, maybe 3 spots. You have 4. That's a great place to be. Now, Viliamu-Asa, he showed a lot of promise last year, and he's heading into his sophomore year. Do not be surprised whatsoever if he has a significant leap forward this year. He's got a ton of talent. If he can stay healthy, look out. That could be a real problem group. That linebacker group in general, the versatility, the depth, you got to love what they have back there at the second level. And then the real strength of the defense might actually come in the secondary, as crazy as that may sound. You lose 2 All-Americans off last year's team and Benjamin Morrison and Xavier Watts. Yes, I am concerned about the vacant hole that is Xavier Watts. That's significant. But we have Leonard Moore back at corner. He was the freshman defensive player of the year last year and got to start the last 7, 8, 9 games and played incredibly well down the stretch as a true freshman. Just imagine how good he's going to be here in the sophomore year. On the other side will be Christian Gray. Should be one of the best cornerback duos in the country. I love the addition of Devontae Smith from Alabama. Was banged up throughout most of last year, but the guy's tough as nails. He's a heat-seeking missile and will be versatile, can play nickel or can play safety, but wherever they put him, you're going to know where he's at because he will hit you and he will make you feel it. That's for sure. Adon Schuler's back at one of the safety spots. He'll lock down that spot, and we'll see exactly how it's all going to work out with the competition at the other spot. But you also have some other true freshmen that might find their way onto the field very early as well. I love this group, and part of the reason why I love this group is because when they've lost pieces in the past, a la last year, by losing multiple defensive ends, by losing their best corner, by having a couple guys that were in and out of the lineup at linebacker, they didn't drop off at all. They didn't skip a beat. There's been a culture created by Marcus Freeman where it's a next man up mentality, and it doesn't matter how good the guy is that you're replacing, you're going to be just as good. And more often than not, they have been. I love where they're heading. They're a top 5 group right now, but it wouldn't shock me at all if when we fast forward to season's end, this is actually a more athletic version of Notre Dame's defense from a year ago.